Welcome to the Smash Masters podcast, hosted by Stefan Eschi and Nick Priest. This is where we dig into the auto body collision repair field and talk quality repair methods and how the industry is always changing. Buckle up, it gonna get bumpy.
Hey, what's going on? This is what are we at? Episode 58 now.
58.
58. That's
and
awesome.
Out there, man. We've been doing this a year now.
Yeah, 1 year. Yeah, that's awesome. We've got an awesome guest on tonight from Crash Champions.
We do. First things first. I don't have the post to put up on the screen, but if y'all check out the Facebook, the Smash Masters Facebook, I just put a post on there. We are now on Discord. We have a Discord server. So there's a whole chat section. You can come in and chat with other like-minded people. But also in there is the opportunity to become a subscriber. And if you were interested in viewing the show on Discord, maybe getting like 5 or 10 minutes of the conversation before the show starts, maybe 5 or 10 minutes of the conversation after the show ends.
So some behind the
scenes.
Do that.
Yeah, you can do that by being a subscriber over on the Discord. So make sure to head over there. It's free to join the Discord server. So you don't have to become a subscriber to get on there. There's also a free trial for being a subscriber. So give it a try. See if you like it. See if you want to come in and support us a little bit more. The only other benefit is there's a subscribers only chat. So that's like a direct connection to Nicholas and me and other subscribers. Share your repairs, ask for advice, whatever's on your mind at the moment. And so I thought I'd offer that up. To see people coming in.
Sounds awesome.
Yeah.
What's going on, everybody? How are you guys doing this afternoon?
Chase, Eldar, Alex, thanks for coming in.
Yeah, absolutely.
Well, we do have a great show. We have Matt Ebert from Crash Champions on. He's the founder and CEO. We did have some people on from Caliber, and we talked about their apprenticeship program and everything. And we wanted to find out more about Crash Champions and their way of doing things, so kind of added into that whole series. Let's bring them out here.
Yeah, absolutely.
There he is. Thanks for coming on the show, Matt.
Thanks for having me. How are you?
All right.
Good. Well, let's start with just for those that don't know, who is Matt Ebert?
Yeah. Very, very good. Yeah, I been in the collision repair business my whole life. I wrecked my car when I was 16. Didn't have enough money to afford higher insurance rates, so needed to learn how to fix it. I lived in a small town in Illinois. So in that small town, I knew a body man that worked in his garage at home at night. And I went over, asked him to show me how to fix my car. And after that, helped him fix other cars, got a job with him right after high school. So I've been in the industry since I was 16. I'll say I ended up having a boss later that pushed me toward, coming in the office, writing estimates and stuff. And I think that's because he liked me and I wasn't that good of a technician, but that's okay. So he saw something I'd probably be better at than fixing the cars. But I did do it for a handful of years there in my early 20s.
Oh, nice. Okay. Nice. Yeah, being a technician is difficult. There's so much to learn when you're out here doing things, and it's always changing, as you know.
Heck, I think it was easy back then. We're talking in the 90s. I mean, technology on the cars was, I joke, I'm like, the technology was a radio with a cassette player, right? You had, if you left your keys in the car, you had a ding. And if you left your keys in and the light on it, it dang louder and faster. Like that was kind of the extent of the technology at the time.
There is quite a bit more in today's cars. That's for sure.
Absolutely. There is
a whole lot more.
Timber Crick over on TikTok says, "Hey, what's going on?
What's going on, Timber?"
Thanks for coming on. We definitely wanted to touch base on some stuff about Crash Champions. I've heard a lot of good things about Crash Champions. I mean, from Nick, who worked at one.
I worked there, and before we get too far, I'm going to show you this thing. You've probably seen this before once or twice, but this thing, it's old. I know a handful of people who have this thing, and this thing is probably from a couple of years old now. What is it, 2022, you think? 2021, 22?
Yeah, yep. 2022 we did that video.
Yeah, yes. So I spent a little time over in Crash Champions myself in the body shop. Now I'm full PDR, but that's something I've kept all these years, and I plan on keeping it a lot more. So pretty cool.
Now, I know we talked about it a little bit before the show, but I would like to hear again why the box. What was the purpose of the box, and what were you trying to do there?
Yeah, what happens as you get bigger, you get more distant from the people, unfortunately. And I miss the days where I knew personally everybody in the company and could walk in the shop and talk to everyone. And so as that was happening, as we were getting bigger, it was efforts of trying to stay in touch and trying to communicate with everybody. And so one of the first things we did was put a video in the box that you could hand to team members when they came in. It's part of how we started down this how I got to sitting here with you guys today. Yeah. We basically figured the best way to reach everybody is through video. So today, we've got an internal app that we use that we release videos on. We will sometimes do calls where we invite everybody in. So all of this kind of podcasting or video communication started just because I missed talking to the team. And it's when you kind of trying to communicate something or roll something out, and the only way to get it to everybody's through the management team. Unfortunately, it's just like playing the game of telephone. When you're in school, the message changes just a little bit as it goes through everybody's filter. And when I do walk in a shop and then say, "Hey, what do you think about what we're trying to do with this?" and the feedback, and they didn't hear anything about what I wanted them to hear in way too many cases. So hopefully, since we started doing some of the videos, some of the direct speak to the team has gone a little better as far as them hearing exactly what we're up to and trying to do.
Okay. Very cool. Very cool. No, that's very interesting. The social media aspect, I mean, even if it's internal, it's just video is a great way to communicate. Obviously, I know that through my videos and everything. So it's cool to see that you're doing that.
Yeah, I'm not crazy where I think everybody just automatically likes me or likes us. But the great thing is if they have something, like this actually gives them a chance to reach back out. And a lot of times, just like a customer, if a customer's unhappy and it, then you can fix it, then you can do something about it. So this has actually created kind of a feedback mechanism too, where men and women reach out, when they have a concern where maybe before I wouldn't have even known that they were unhappy about something. So it's been great for communicating.
Right.
That's very cool.
Yeah, it is. Good. And that around that, you got MSO Executive of the Year in 2022, and that box probably had a little something to do with that on the end, I would imagine. So getting you around. But I know, when I got that thing and it was brought around to me, that kind of makes you pay attention and say, hey, this guy's doing a little something different. What does he bring to the table? So, yeah, it was pretty cool. It was pretty cool to see. Yeah, I like that. And you're up to, you started in with one shop in 1999. So
that's right.
26 years later, you're up to 650 locations. So there's no way you could possibly go through and see everybody. So that's the social media aspect, the forum. And I know a lot of places don't want you to film or show videos, but a lot of technicians are passionate about what they do. They want to get out there and just show their skills and be transparent and show, showcase how they're done. Yeah, Cass, she does a heck of a job showing how her repair process and stuff.
Oh, I think it's great. Didn't mean to cut you off, Nick, but
no, you're
for young people that are just curious, one of the things that we're always talking about is because we're trying to attract people to the industry. And I think that, you know, take the past 2 decades, when I went to high school, even, it was always a push to go to college, and you have to go to college to and do a quote unquote white collar job. And I just think, like, now it's a chance to get out there that it is. I mean, it's hard to fix cars. I know what you guys do is really hard, but it's also a better opportunity than I think people think. And so, like, I think there's bad things to everything, right? Bad things to social media too, but one good thing is people can actually see what you guys do every day if they want to search for it and get a sense for, hey, would I like to do that or not? Because it ain't like it used to be where you could crawl into your own car and start to use a wrench, change the oil, change the spark plugs. Now it's a little bit more scary for young people because of how much the cars have advanced.
For sure.
And like with all this social media stuff nowadays, like a lot more women are getting into the industry, like Cass, and she's out on the floor repairing cars. So if somebody was to see her videos, they can connect with her and other people. So with that kind of being said, do you guys have like a program or anything that help new people come on?
Yeah, we do. We have apprentice programs both for technicians and for service advisors. We have programs with and the women started this. It's called Women from Crash, and they've been you know, pioneering basically a community that embraces women in the industry, because we would love to see more women in it. Unfortunately, in the past, they didn't like us that much. It's not so much any other reason, because again, that's just to the tune of, like, there's this stereotype around the industry that hopefully we can change a little bit.
Right. And yeah, like Cass says here, supporting technicians posting the work to spread awareness and attract people. I mean, you know, if you're comfortable enough filming yourself doing this and you're good enough to put your product out there, you've got to have a good passion for it. And that in itself will attract like-minded people.
It will also attract those you don't want. So if you are thinking about making social media videos, you got to have thick skin, and you got to ignore the people that are out in negativity. And so just a little caution from somebody with a following. Believe me, it can take a toll on you. So you got to be strong with that. But yeah, no, I think it's very cool that you're supportive of that. I know Eldar popped in, and he's a Crash Champions employee, and he likes to make his videos, especially with his Kiko products.
Yeah, we were watching one of those earlier before we got started here, and does an awesome job.
Yeah, do you know that both those systems in that video are actually his personal systems too? They're not shop systems. So I mean, he's fully invested there. And
I know that for sure, because I got some equipment requests in front of me for spending a whole lot of money on some of the glue pulling technology. So but it's great to watch what he's able to do with it.
We're big fans of the Kiko systems and the Cam Auto systems. Both are really extremely helpful in the body shop.
Yeah, they are. And the way this trade is changing, it's changing so fast, the way that you repair it. I mean, 5-6 years ago, we wouldn't have even considered this the way that we're repairing things. I got into glue pulling in the collision side in 2018. I know a lot of the PDR technicians have been glue pulling and stuff a lot longer than that. But it's so much has changed, and Kiko's really been pioneering it and keeping it full force. And there's things that you can do with these systems that you just couldn't do a few years ago.
Right. Absolutely. I mean, talking about years ago, I actually am wondering how Crash Champions got started. I mean, I'm assuming it was your first store.
Sure. Yeah. It wasn't called Crash Champions at first. It was the gentleman whose shop I was running. I also I wanted to own my own business pretty badly too. And again, I came from a small town, so part of the collision industry was, boy, I would love to open a body shop, but I was again in my early 20s. Part of the consideration was I don't know if I could get anybody to send me any work. Like I don't know anybody. I don't know where I get the jobs from. So I ventured into open a Subway sandwich shop or 2 or 3 and wasn't making any money. So while I had other people kind of running those, I went and got a job right back in the body shop. So I was managing a gentleman's body shop who basically asked me like if I really thought I was going to make money making sandwiches, and kind of brought up the idea of opening a shop together. So we owned the one shop together for 15 years, and it was called New Lenox Auto Body because it was in New Lenox, Illinois. So not a very creative name. And then he was 20 years older than me. So once he finally gave me a number that I could buy him out with and wanted to expand it, then I started talking to a couple places I hired to help me come up with a new name. And we looked at a bunch of them, but this one resonated because it was kind of the concept of being a hero for our customers in a time of need. It's a cape that's in the logo. A lot of people don't know it's a cape. They think it might be a road or something, but then came the idea of we gave all the young kids capes of all the customers that came in, and I just kind of thought, what kid doesn't want a cape? And thought it was, and I thought it was a memorable name. When studies kind of say that people that get their car fixed don't remember the name of the place that fixed it like a year later. They'll remember the name of the person. Like they would remember, oh yeah, I went and I talked to Stefan, or oh, I went and talked to Nick over there, but they won't remember the name of the business a lot of times. And I thought Crash Champions was kind of memorable. I was probably lying to myself, but anyway, that was the whole idea of and where the name came from.
Right. That's pretty cool. It's a lot more memorable than I guess the first name you had picked out. I mean, you can picture that all over the place as well. And it makes you think too, like Crash Champions, like what are we going for here? We're going in this direction or that direction, or it could go anything. So when you say the name, it kind of has you thinking a little bit. And
when I get my email just today, I still get those questions. Well, what does that mean? You guys crash cars? I'm like, no.
No.
Yeah. And that's really a good thing, because when you conversate about something like that, then you can start to remember it. Like, so I like that. I like that.
Absolutely.
And a sandwich shop. What was the name of the sandwich shop?
Oh, it was a Subway.
He owned Subway.
Just Subway.
Yeah,
okay.
I wouldn't recommend that route, by the way, guys. If you ever get tired of this, I wouldn't go that route. But
it's good to know.
From the growth then really started. I was watching a lot of consolidation happen, say in the early 2000s, and thought I was missing a lot of opportunity. Little did I know where it would really go, but started growing then in 2014 and grew to 11 shops there in 2019 when we brought in a private equity group. And some of that was just not so much like I wanted to be huge. I just wanted to survive. And I was really worried about like I say, there's a saying in this world where big screws small, or BFS, right? And so I was a little worried about staying small, and just the fear of not being, where would I get the work if the big guys came and took it all away from me? And so it was a little bit not initially driven by, oh, I want to do something big and awesome. It was more survival. Wanted to make sure that we could continue to be around.
Okay. I mean, did you have like a mindset of my body shop's going to be better quality than all the other ones, or we're going to do more work than all the other ones? I mean, what was your goal?
Yeah, you always, I mean, I don't think anybody ever sets out to not be the best at something. We certainly weren't sitting there wanting to be bad. I would say this, in the early days, it was all about make the facilities really, really nice, give all the equipment that we could to the technicians, all the training that we could. We were getting certifications when we were small, from things that, like, we were UD, what was it called? NSF certified, which was independent, where they came in and really ran, and they did away with that program like shortly after we did it. But at the time, it was 7 shops, and all 7 of our shops were NSF certified, where they came in and tore apart the welds of our techs, looked at all the work that we were doing. So we very much were wanting to be high quality all the way from, and I felt like, remember, I was small compared to Chicago was the most consolidated market. So at the time it was Service King, Abra, and Gerber, and all of them had, say, 50 shops or more. And so how was I at 6 or 7 shops going to compete with them? And I thought the best way was to make sure that we had nice facilities, nice places to work, that we had the equipment that the technicians needed to do well. And that's how then we could attract good people to the shops. Now, through the rapid growth, like, we have a lot of catch up to do on, say, remodeling that we want to do and things like that, because it just takes a lot of money and time. But that's still the goal. Like, if you ask me, like, where I want us to be 10 years from now, I want our facilities all to be great. I want our shops to be equipped. I want our technicians and our front of office to be trained really, really well. I want to be able to fix certified repairs. It's just a matter of how fast you can go and how much you can do in a certain period of time. But that's still today the goal, is to be great. And you kind of start where you are. It doesn't mean you're great from day one, especially in an acquisition or a startup from scratch. But that's the mission that we're on over time.
That's awesome.
What I want to hear.
Yeah, and like Gene brings up here, he says, it's so cool that you're still the leader since the very start. Like, most, I don't say most, but I would say a lot of people would say, hey, let's build this up, and then I'm just going to get rid of it and then go away. But you're still here. You're doing it, and you've got goals to continue looking forward to, and I'm sure you've still got plenty of growth and stuff that you want to do ahead, even after doing this much.
I really love what we do. I think cars are, I mean, when I was a kid, I thought it was because cars are cool, right? And they represented more to me. They were like freedom too. Like, I still remember the first time I was in my car without my parents and could go wherever I wanted to go, and nobody could stop me. I might get in trouble later, but they weren't going to stop me from driving there. But so I really like what we do. I've got a 6 and 8-year-old son and daughter at home, which I love very much, but I'm not looking to go hang out with them all day. So I really want to keep doing this for a good while. And it's one of the things that we talk about that makes us unique, because we're the only ones of this size that are still founder led. And it's not, it doesn't mean like I'm super special or anything. It just means, like, look, like, even though I wasn't the greatest technician, I have done it. And so hopefully I'm not going to come to the in and ever let some crazy idea that's going to make everybody's job harder and life more miserable. We're going to not try crazy ideas that just don't make any sense in the industry, that might be able to creep in if I was just, a professional CEO coming in to do my best at running the company. And again, that's just an angle that we talk about. Of course, when I was small, I used to say, look, you don't want to go to the big company. You want to come get your car fixed at my shop, because I'll give you my cell phone. If something's wrong, you can call me. Or if you're a technician, you're just a number at the big company. You want to come and you want to work with me because you're going to see me every day. And now that we're bigger, I can't say those. I have to flip the other thing about what's good about us being bigger. Now we're big enough where we can give you opportunity to advance in your career, and we're big enough that we're going to be able to make sure that we keep a certain level of work in the shop, or whatever it might be. Now that we're bigger in our advantage, it's funny how the script transforms over time. But it really, I love the industry. I want to help it, and I think, like, the exciting thing is cars have changed so fast.
They do.
And there's never been the kind of change in the industry at the pace of what we're facing today. And so, like, it's a huge challenge that I think that we're up against, with making sure that everybody knows how to fix these cars right, making sure that we're all equipped properly and in the know. And that's kind of what's exciting about it, is meeting that challenge, especially as fast as everything is transforming. It's pretty crazy, really, when you think about in the past 5 years compared to the 20 prior to that, there wasn't that much change in how the vehicles were built compared to now.
Right. Absolutely.
It's absolutely insane the amount of training I've been through in the last 10 years with the EVs, the ADAS systems, the self-driving, and just all the safety stuff that we have to go through. It's nothing like when I first started.
And now here comes the megacast, where like, how do you even, the only way to repair it is to take the car halfway apart and replace it. It's pretty wild, but it's better for manufacturing, and that's why they're going to do it. I don't think the manufacturers think at all about how's this going to be on the other end when
absolutely not.
They don't care.
Yeah.
Get them out the door. Yeah, that's it. That's all they care about.
But those challenges are like the opportunities for us. And I think even the technician shortage, they're predicting like a need of another 100,000 over the next 10 years because of the baby boomers retiring and all that. And what I say is, like, if we're not successful in attracting people to the industry, that's really good, because in a world where supply and demand really works, like, you guys are going to be able to demand a lot of money for the skill that you have, because there's not very many of you.
For the technician side of it, it does look good, and it has. I mean, it basically, the pay has gotten pretty much, you get what you ask for, within reason. It really has gone that way.
It has bumped up a lot in the last few years. I will say that. I would say that there's probably still room for improvement on, as far as like the rates and stuff. But I mean, it's from what it has been, I think it was pretty stagnant there for a lot of years.
A long time. So it's been much needed and well deserved. And the same is for us. Like, I always cheer it on, because it's better for us as a company too. So
absolutely. So I don't want to skip over Dylan's question here, but he says, what is the key to keeping that many shops up to company standard? Do you have some, I mean, obviously you don't have to share your whole secrets, but I mean, is there anything that you could give out to that, like, as far as your
Yeah, I can tell you what we're doing to try to meet it. And the honest answer is, we're not perfect. Like, if I'm honest, like, I'm not here saying that we are. What I can say is, when I talk about to our team, and I mean it, like, the differentiator is always going to be the quantity and the quality of our people. It's it's a service business. It's not, we don't have robots fixing the cars or anything like that. It really is the people. So the quality of the people is what matters. And so we start with, again, on the tech side, it's providing the training, providing the equipment, and the opportunity to continue to advance the training way beyond what, because iCar doesn't answer every question.
No.
So you have to build programs outside of that. But we spend a lot of time on the leadership, because you guys as techs aren't going to work for a bad manager. Like, you just don't have to. And an inefficient office makes it really hard for you to do your job. And so, even though we don't have it perfect, that's what we're starting with the leadership in the shop, which is the manager, because if the manager is bad, your experience will be bad. We won't be able to attract or keep good technicians, good service advisors, or anything. So I've seen it way too many times. We can build a brand new shop and you put a bad manager in there, it'll be bad. You can acquire a shed that needs remodeled and needs a whole lot of work, but a great manager makes it a whole different experience working there, and even for the customers. So we spend a lot of time on the people, because I think that's key to what we do. It is service after all.
I have to agree.
A high scale, good environment is definitely going to be the key to success in any shop. I think
with
that
well-trained management is, I believe in that 100%. So I like that answer a lot.
We basically flat out tell them, like, in a world where techs might not ever meet me in person, like, whether they like or hate Crash Champions is dependent on you as the local manager, because you're the representative. You're the ones they know. So there's a lot of people out there loving it, and has nothing to do with me. It's that GM that gets all the credit, and there's some out there that hated us, and that, again, doesn't as much have to do with me, other than I let the bad manager exist. Like, that's my fault. But that manager is the one who created the bad experience. So we think our GMs, just like our technicians, are super important. All the people are, because that, again, it's the people that make it happen.
Yeah, absolutely. And
So, oh, sorry. Gene came
yeah,
in. I wanted to touch on that. It's kind of a two-part, and then Cass kind of has the second part of this question. But how do you attract new techs? And my question is, do you focus more on getting experienced techs in the door or training your own?
So we're very much training from scratch now. We've had to recruit because we grew
right.
really fast. I mean, I was
Yeah.
only 5 years. If you think about a world where, like, to get really, really good as a tech, like, I think our training program gets them standing on their own, say in 18 months. But like, to me, it really takes a few years to be really good. If you're really aggressive and really
At
skilled,
least.
but
Mhm.
3 to 5 years is where you really start to find your groove. So we're
Yeah.
way too new to be able to boast that we trained up all the techs. We've had to recruit. And so we've done some things that, might be quote unquote gimmicky, where we're rewarding technicians to recruit other technicians, and we'll pay them for the hours that they book. We call it cash from crash. So we call it a little bit of a multi-level marketing scheme where you're going to get paid for recruiting somebody else. And we don't hide it either. Like, to me, it's just a different version of paying somebody to a recruiting bonus or whatever else. But
Yeah.
what that kind of encouraged was everybody staying engaged and talking to the technician after he was there and making sure that he was happy. And if he isn't, what can we do about it? So we've done a ton of recruiting. And we're also now a couple years into our STEP program, which is our apprentice program. It still needs some refinement. There's some things I don't love about it, because again, you got to dream up this stuff and figure out a way to teach people. What I would say is we have been super successful in actually attracting people that are interested. Our bigger sales pitch has to be to our own guys, to get them willing to teach it. So you got guys that are great at fixing cars, but they want to be left alone sometimes. They don't want to be bothered. They might not have the patience, or they might not be built to be a teacher. And so it's a little bit of our work is to pitch guys on the benefits of training the quote unquote next generation. And that's what I really want to improve on over the next year or so, because I think there's so much that some of the techs have to offer. We of course have to make it worth their while, from a financial reward perspective, et cetera. But also, what can we do to, if they're just not comfortable with teaching, like, how could we help them do that better? Maybe it's really we can't go any faster with training guys if the mentors aren't there. So I think that's kind of key to our success in the future.
Okay,
For sure. For sure.
Awesome.
No, I agree that the mentorship is very important. I would to compensate the mentor for taking on the apprentice, it's beneficial for everybody, I think. And you could even have one mentor working with multiple apprentices. I mean, you don't have to be standing over their shoulder all the time. But no, that's great to hear. That's great to hear. And Cass was asking how you support new technicians coming in, and I believe you just answered that basically by working on your mentorship. Unless you have,
again, I would very much advertise it as a program that's in the works. I mean, it doesn't suck.
Sure.
It doesn't suck at all, but I think we're a couple years into it. Our goal is to have an average of one per shop. Some shops are small and they won't ever have an apprentice, but on average, like if we're 650 shops, we'd like to see 650 apprentices being trained at any given time. And we're only a third of the way there. So we've still got quite a ways to go in what we want to build it into. And I think what I feel is when the program's better, it will get to the point. The reason it isn't there yet is because we're not quite good enough at it yet. But from the components of, are you teaching the right things to the techs so that they can be successful? And of course, like, we're rewarding those that are willing to train. To me, you can't ask people to do things and not reward them for it. That's maybe for a half a minute you can ask for a favor, but you're not going to build a whole training program and not reward those that are doing the work.
You got it.
Yeah.
That's key. Danny just came in.
Yep, he did.
sharing his video on some training he did at a Crash Champions there. I love seeing it. He shares a lot of videos on the trainings he does. I think he just wrapped up a 5-day training in Oklahoma, and I get major FOMO on this stuff, just because I mean I really love the glue pulling and I love the training, and actually I've had the opportunity to show some coworkers how to do some glue pulling stuff, and you see that light bulb go off. Or like when we brought Ryan and Joel to the Kiko training, they had no dent experience or no glue pulling experience whatsoever. And at the end of the week, they're PDRing dents out of Danny's personal Jeep.
Yeah,
you know, so
that,
I mean
that was
speaks
cool.
to the training.
I am watching it off to the side here. It's amazing to watch.
This training is really, really great. I love this training.
It was before you started, like we were talking about it, and I was mentioning when I was still dealing directly with the customers, and you know, the customers insist, I want a new quarter panel if you're going to fix my car. And I would be sincere, like, my man, I don't know, if it were my car, I wouldn't want to cut the car all apart and weld on a new panel because we can really fix this. Now, I really believe that. I wasn't selling something I didn't mean, because disruptiveness of taking the panel off when it could be repaired. But the watching it in the in-between time when you're grinding the paint off and pulling the dent and mudding it, like, you might not have wanted to have the customer see that. In fact, I know you wouldn't have. But from look at that video, like, what wouldn't you show a customer the whole way while you're doing it, repairing that? And so what Stefan, you used the expression, what, it just gets better the whole way through the process, which that's way different than, hey, the whole it's got to get worse before it gets better kind of.
Yeah, it's gonna get uglier before it looks better.
The industry is completely changing, and you put that light up there, and now you can just watch it disappear as you go along in your process, versus before the first step is to take the grinder, cut it all off.
I mean, it's a total mindset change, and our listeners have heard us say this a million times. But you're, instead of feeling the panel, which you can still do when the paint's still on it, but instead of feeling the panel for highs and lows, we're using our eyes. Your hand's gonna lie to you. Your eyes are seeing exactly what's there. So it opens up so much more repairability. I'm using their words now. Kiko words.
Yeah, I think I missed this comment earlier, but do you, when you're training people, do they have to produce X amount of hours, or what is the expectations for somebody new like that? Are we just trying to see how they go along?
Yeah, I kind of want that burned down, and I think it is from its early stages. There were when we acquired Service King, there was a program that they were piloting that included, you know, a certain amount of production to be feasible. The goal of mentorship is to build future technicians, not like there's a point in a career of a technician when productivity matters. It's not when you're 8 weeks into learning, like you're there. So I would say that I'm not in the weeds of the program enough to answer it. And so, but I will tell you that is a component that we for sure is not what it used to be, and for sure view way differently than kind of original ideas around that. To me, the goal of a apprentice program is to produce great technicians. It's not to force a certain amount of hours through them.
Right. And it's overwhelming enough to start with, especially like we've said before, the car's changing so fast, the way the repair is changing so fast. And I mean, we didn't even mention having to buy and get your own tools to even start so you can show up on the floor. And when you're doing that, is there any kind of help that you guys give for as far as like a tool allowance or anything?
Yeah, there is tooling, and allowance for tooling's included in the program as well. Yeah.
Awesome.
Yeah,
great.
So that would take a huge weight off somebody that would be wanting to learn.
Yeah,
absolutely.
Rather than the old Snap-on finance program,
right.
There's better ways.
I mean,
$50
based off of that is are they considered students? Do they get that Snap-on 50% discount when they're apprentices? Man, that would be great if you could get that.
That's, I wonder what we can do or what we have done around that. I'm going to bring that up to our team tomorrow.
That would be interesting.
The honest answer, I don't know, but yeah, us negotiating a better deal on behalf of our guys is, we've done it before in like, say in the paint gun world or things like that. So it's not a new idea to us. And we might even have done it for our apprentices as far as negotiating a discount for them, but I'm ashamed to say I don't know on this call.
Right.
But they're tapping me on the thing saying they get a 60% discount.
Okay.
So
all right.
I just found out. Yep.
That is the student discount.
That's from Mako. 60% from Mako.
Okay.
Mako.
Okay. Yep.
Not Mako.
Yeah,
Mako.
Matco. Yeah.
Matco. Yeah.
But that's great because I mean, so personal experience. I went to trade school for 15 months. While I was in trade school, I could get a Snap-on discount. While I'm in trade school, I'm paying to be there. I don't have any money. I'm not making any money. I couldn't buy any. I bought a welding mask, that saved me a good chunk of change. But in comparison to what I've spent over the years, nothing. It saved me nothing. Being in the shop, learning, making some money, and having access to that discount, game changer. So that is awesome. That is really cool. So for people looking to start out in the trade, that is going to a Crash Champions and getting that would be super helpful.
Absolutely. And John Vidic, he was on our podcast show not too long ago, but he was asking if he have any outside hail repair company agreements to take care of your hail claims, or in certain areas, how would one handle something like that if you get like bombarded with hail work for PDR, for example?
Yeah, currently it's our regional teams that have their guys that they like. We don't currently dictate at a kind of a national level who we're going to use, and we don't have one deal across the whole country. There's guys that our team really likes that are good and that also service us when it's not a storm, but have the ability to ramp up when there is a storm. So we rely on the local guys' choices on that a lot.
Okay. So it's a local case by case basis. Okay. Yeah, that's good. Good info.
We're big supporters of local businesses.
Yeah, absolutely.
So if you're using the regular guys during the hailstorms, then that's great to hear. There are people that chase hail, and there's very good quality technicians that chase hail. But there's also a bunch of people that chase hail and don't do a great job. And so that's usually who's brought in from what I've seen. But, what are you going to do, right? Candyman Team Crash Champions.
Right.
There you go.
Yeah, Candyman's got his own, he's got a pretty good social media following. He paints at one of our shops in Florida that we acquired a year or so ago. So check him out. He some amazingly clean paintwork. You can tell it in the video.
I will do that.
Okay, yeah, absolutely. I'll be sure to check him out.
Danny says, John, we're training future hail techs. Keep it in house. It's true. If you go to a 5-day Pico body shop training, you learn how to read a PDR light and use PDR tools on the dents. Whether or not you finish them PDR or you finish it with a swipe of glaze coat, it's up to you. But that's funny that he said that.
That's the way the repair industry in the world is going to, regardless. So like you said, you don't have to finish them, but the tools and techniques are going to be there.
And I'm the current in-house PDR tech at my body shop, and it actually works out pretty well. It's a pretty cool thing. So
one thing too on the Candyman subject before we move on, one thing I love about what he's doing is he helps with the way you think about things too. So there's the skill level for techs and painters in his case, but there's also like the business mindset and the way you think about things, and he talks about that stuff too in a way that helps everybody. So goes a little bit beyond just the technical comments on things, which I think the right mindset in life, it helps a lot.
Awesome.
100%. 100%.
Yeah.
I mean, I know you're into we've talked about it a bit in the leadership stuff and everything. I actually had a little bit of leadership training myself, and it totally changed my life. So I mean, it doesn't matter if you're in a leadership role or not. The right mindset.
That's right. We've been including our technicians in it as much. We can't do it as big as like it takes so much time because you can't invite everybody. But you know, for example, we send guys to Montana as one of the weeks of our leadership training. It's one of 3 weeks that we currently put GMs through. And we built one where we invited the GMs directly. And we ran several of those throughout the last year. We've got a leadership conference coming up in August, and I think we're inviting about 100 technicians. Like it's
awesome.
You can't invite everybody, but we're trying to include them. Like the conversations aren't exclusive of them, they're inclusive of them as much as they can practically be. Like we can't afford to bring the whole, I mean, we're probably bringing more than we can afford as it is. So it's not so much that, but we're trying to include them because I think it's been a miss in the past to not include them enough. I think it's huge.
Yeah,
big time. I super thankful to a previous employer for sending me to leadership training. It's the biggest asset I got at that place. So I take that as feedback. Big deal for me.
Leadership training is really awesome. And you know, when a customer comes through the shop and they go to the GM and they say, "Hey, you've done a great job on my car," sometimes that never gets translated to the tech a lot of times. And just going back there and just letting them know, hey, these guys are loving what you're doing. That right there is also a huge help, especially when you're doing this day in, day out, you know. So just the small things that go a long way in this industry, as you know already.
Small things.
What?
Go ahead.
Not to put you guys on the spot, but you know, before sometimes I wait too long and then we get to the end of these and the time's over. But curious, you know, since what am I missing? What are we missing as far as what technicians really want today? Would be cool to know if anybody wants to send a comment to you or whatever, because I don't always get to hear, like, I could be worried about things that aren't important to them at all. I'd be curious if I'm missing something and would love to hear the feedback. Just sorry for cutting you off, guys, just to throw that out.
No, that's perfect. I already touched on something. I think it was before the show. It's hard for me to remember when I said it, but for me, the biggest thing at my current shop is the 4-day work week. So I mean, I love it. I absolutely love it. I feel more refreshed coming in on Monday after a 3-day weekend, and I know I'm more productive in that sense.
Can I ask a question? I'm nosy about that. What do you do? So I don't want, I hope not too many Crash Champions guys are listening to this, because I don't want them to think this in the future. But we have obviously had the conversation around a 4-day work week. Like, it's not the first time.
Yeah.
One of the problems to solve for us is because all of our 90-something% of our guys are all flat rate commission paid. So if they're headed for the 3-day weekend and the job's not quite done, does it sit there and wait for you to come back, or what? Like, that's the big thing for us, because we could even alter the days where a couple guys are, say, off on Monday, a couple on Friday or whatever, but it's really the downtime for the car while you're off for the 3 days to solve, when you kind of own that job and don't want anybody else touching it because it's going to hurt your pay. That's the problem that I haven't come up with an answer for yet.
Well, our shop is open for half a day on Friday.
Okay.
So if you want to, you can come in on Friday and finish up something or get something started if you'd like to. It's at certain times when we're busier, it's open on Saturday too. I think the whole nation is a bit slow right now, so I don't think we're open on Saturdays at the moment. Yeah. But and somebody asked earlier, why is Crash slow? Everybody's slow right now. If you actually look up, if you do Google ads, you can look up the search terms. Everything's down. Everything's down. So it's just people aren't looking to get their cars repaired right now.
Yeah, guys, I can tell you that as an industry, we're down 10% year over year as an industry. Crash is a little better than that, a lot better than that. We're kind of flat, but the industry's 10% down, and the industry is 9 straight quarters of declining claims. And that's a little bit of just we blame a lot of it in our conversations around the consumer insurance premium dynamic that's happened, where insurance rates kind of skyrocketed. Now consumers are afraid to make a claim because their insurance rates have already went way up. And if I make another claim, what are they going to go to? If you're an Allstate agent today and a customer's calling you that they wrecked their car, the agent's trying to talk you out of making a claim because they're paid commission on your policy and they don't want you to get canceled. So there's a little bit of like, give it another, I don't know whether it's 3 months or 6 months or whatever for these new premium rates to kind of settle in. And the good thing is insurers are really profitable at the moment, so they don't need to keep hiking rates right now. So I think it's going to, like, I can say this, I believe people are still wrecking. You see wreck cars driving around, like they're just not fixing them. And I think that what's causing them not to fix them is a lot of where insurance premiums went. And I think we're counting on that settling down a little. So I think the work is going to come back, but as an industry, it's pretty, I'm a growth company. I really want to grow. I hate to see like kind of the same work as we had a year ago. I really want to see it come back too. So
that's understandable. I mean, it's I don't know. I guess it's just one of these years, but
it just is what it is. We got to get through it.
It is what it is. But the guys are saying because you get Kiko training, GPR training for the shops. And one other thing we got here is outside opinion is that the front of the house and technicians aren't on the same page. It feels like 2 games being played. I would say that being I've worked in Crash Champions and Stefan, the way his 4-hour or 4-day work week is, like on flat rate, you're there from start to finish. So it is difficult. Like you said, if the car isn't all the way done, then what do you do to finish the car? And that aspect, but
Danny, more pizza parties. Sorry.
It's funny because we did a video mocking ourselves on the pizza parties, because we know how you guys kicked ass all month and your reward was a pizza. Thanks. Like,
they got
it's now everyone's coming in. I love pizza.
Right. I like pizza too. If there was only one food I could eat, I think it wouldn't be a bad one to be left with.
right.
But on as far as the house, the front of the house and back of the house, I feel like getting those 2 on the same page as much as possible with any shop and every shop. That is probably the best thing, as you would already know. And it's so much easier when the front of the house can tackle all these other things, and you don't feel like as a technician you're constantly fighting for your hours, your parts, your space in a shop. And a lot of places don't have up-to-date tooling and technology, and it's just those kind of things nowadays that make it set you apart, as we touched on earlier. So
that's the problem that I kind of identified. Like if the management's bad, it frustrates the guys, and that means really the whole front office. If the estimators aren't good, then the body techs feel like they're right in the estimate. Like there's all kinds of things that can go wrong, and we're trying to solve it. It's just I would say this too, like people a lot of times aren't good at communicating. And that's for like, we just don't take the time to be curious enough about the other person's opinion to be able to communicate it well, or we're not organized enough not to frustrate. Like if I'm not organized enough, I'm going to frustrate the heck out of you because I'm going to run to you with the next emergency. And it wouldn't have been an emergency if I was a little more organized myself. So there's all kinds of things that I can see that frustrate people. It's just how fast can we train and how much can we move the needle on really human nature of not being curious about the other person enough. Everybody's a little bit selfish, even if they're a super caring person. And so how do we get people to take the time to understand the other person's position and help them in general is the thing for me to try to do and my team to try to do at scale. Like it's easy to do in one building compared to trying to do it in many. It gets harder.
Right. And
to speak on the communication, I talked to a shop owner. He actually posts, you might have seen his videos. He posts his Auto Body Strong, Juan Carlos. But he told me that his goal is to create a process where literally there's the least amount of communication needed for that issue. I mean, we're bad at communicating. Let's create processes where, this person hangs a form on there. That person didn't have to ask any questions because everything's answered on the form on the cart, whatever it may be. But the process is lined up like that. And I had realized a previous employer had that process set up, and I didn't realize that it was just to cut out communication because that was the issue. So I like that. But I have one other point before I get too far on the whole front end versus the back end thing. 2 shops I've worked in, including where I am now, I feel it's a lot better because they took the estimators and they put them in the shop. Right. They took them out of the office and put them in the shop. The only people that are up front are the shop owners, the customer service representatives, and that's it. The parts guy and the estimators are back in the shop with the technicians the entire time. So that for me, I mean, it deals with a lot of communication, and it deals with a lot of the front versus back kind of deal.
Right. That way you can kind of see what's going on for both parts. Like you're building this as a team and not having to feel like, we found this, we got to run and tell this person, got to tell that person, something like that.
Right.
So
it's a big deal. I mean, I could see that the writers are running around like they're chickens with heads cut off. I'm not thinking that they're in the office, in the air conditioned office, just doing nothing, like technicians generally think of writers, so it's helpful. Sorry, go ahead. Daniel Kraus says, do you have DFR and reassembly teams in the shops, or is it a technician doing start to finish minus paint?
So there's both models in the footprint. So some shops are running that and others aren't. It when you first introduce that, if they're not doing it that way, you've got to really sell the guys on doing it. So if they're sold on that, we definitely don't change it. But it basically allows for the local team to pick which route they go.
Yeah.
I can tell you that it's rarer for the DFR teams to be there than it is to have them. But we also have we have technician teams throughout the country, a lot of them, where it's 1 or 2 or 3 guys teamed up. So how they divide that work up is completely up to them.
Okay.
I like it.
Yeah, that's good.
Well, here's Jason popping in. Here's the difference between a writer and an estimator. That's as you mentioned him before, Jason X.
Yeah. I feel that method always worked real well. I mean, for me, when you have somebody that's back there and they can help.
I don't write supplement sheets anymore. I mean, literally it's because the writer is, so my personal shop, not mine, but the car gets torn down by a team and written. I get it fully torn down and written, and parts are here. I do the repairs and get it into primer, send it to paint, and then it goes to somebody else to put it back together. And I forget where I was going with that, but it just seems to be a pretty easy process. Oh, I don't need to write supplements because if there's something, the writer is right there, so I can say I had to take something else off. Hey, add this R&I time. It's much easier than having to go into the office or write a whole sheet out or anything. I mean, techs don't like to pick up a pen. So,
and I have been at like what Brian's talking about here. I have been in shops where they set unreachable goals and try to do everything within their power to make something that's never going to work. And then they'll have meetings at the first of the month and then kind of like bash everybody. I'm not saying that Crash Champions or anything did that, but I have been into one of these, and that's having a reachable, attainable goal that's realistic is also key, which I'm sure you're well aware of that. But
yeah, I think that goes to communication as well. Like,
right.
It's great to want to do more,
Sure.
but it's a whole nother thing to make people feel bad. I can tell you when I was just one or two shops, I had a manager that used to yell at everybody in the production meeting every morning. And finally I had to make him stop having meetings because I'm like, dude, nobody wants to come in and be screamed at first thing when they come in. So for that guy, I told him we couldn't hold those meetings anymore. But hopefully look, like there is the whole treat people how you want to be treated and
right.
stuff that you hope people do. We don't have the service advisors sitting in the back. We might have that at a few shops. They're in the front, but you're not wrong in that they have to see the work. Like you can't run it from your desk, and you can't make everybody come to you. Like, so I hope that even though their desk is up front in our current footprint, I hope they're walking in the back plenty often to where our techs don't have to write all this stuff up. But I understand, like when you put them in the back in the first place, what you're saying is I don't have to sit here and hope that they go in the back. They're there. I get it.
Well, right. And not just that, just being able to see what the other side is dealing with in terms of problems and stuff, instead of, just putting the walls between us. I think it's really beneficial personally. So I've been in my career, I've been in 6 shops, and 2 of them had the estimators in the back. And those are the 2 shops that I considered to be good shops. The other shops I left not a fan. So I mean,
as much as like I don't want to jump in the middle of a service advisors versus technicians conversation, I will say that those service advisors, sometimes I think what a tough job they've got too, because they've got the customer to make happy, they've got management to make happy, they've got the insurance company to make happy, they've got the technician to make happy. Like they really got it. Where do they walk where somebody likes them? It's a tough.
It's bad tough. Yeah.
I won't deny that. I mean, in the same regards, a body tech's job is to give bad news, because the only time I got to go and talk to you is when I've got bad news. And that can be tough too. But no, you're absolutely right. A writer has to do quite a lot and communicate with a lot of people.
Yeah, a bad writer's just making it all hard all the way around because he doesn't get it right. But the good ones that have to manage all of those relationships, so to speak, it's a tough gig.
Chase says they can be a big punching bag. Yes, 100%.
Right.
And not an envious position. Yes, no.
It's a super tough gig. I mean, you do have all angles ready to pounce on you at any minute. And that's why as far as a technician goes, it's really good to have a thorough blueprinting right up front when you're doing these jobs, because that makes their job go a lot smoother. I mean, even though they may not want to be involved in that part so much, but if you're well aware of what's going on with the situation, then you can handle it a lot more properly. So I think that first initial encounter with the vehicle is the most rewarding throughout the rest of the process. Now, if you get out there and you halfway look at it and you halfway send up pictures and it's just gonna be terrible from the rest of the way on.
Yeah, the more detailed they are, the better.
Absolutely.
For sure. Well, we made an hour. Is there anything that you wanted to cover or ask us before we wrap this up?
No, the time flew by, guys. Thanks for inviting me. And for the technicians out there, I just want you to know how much you're appreciated from my standpoint. I'm well aware of how difficult the job is. Admire heck, you guys are craftsmen, and it's pretty awesome what you do, from transforming a wrecked car into one that's whole again. And it's really cool to watch how good you are at it, and really appreciate all of it. And glad for any listening that are kind of interested in the industry, and hope you jump in with both.
Yeah, awesome. So before you get out of here, you launched a new podcast show, Pod Crash, on June 3rd. So give us a little bit of info on that before you head out of here.
Yeah, sure. It's on Apple, Spotify, or anywhere you get your podcasts. We're talking about the industry. We're talking about blue collar careers in general. We're talking about leadership. So all this came from just getting more in front of the camera, video, trying to communicate with our guys, to now trying to communicate with customers and an expanding audience. So glad to have you listen if you got the time.
We will be listening for sure. Yeah.
Awesome. And you've had 5 other notable appearances so far, and we're the 6th one that you've been on so far, I think. So excellent. It's awesome. We appreciate you very much. And for everybody coming in and hanging out with us, we appreciate you guys too. And go give the Pod Crash show a follow, and let's listen.
All right. Well, we can sign off. I'm good.
Yeah, I don't have anything else if you do.
Appreciate you guys.
All right.
Yeah, thank you very much. Bye, everybody.